Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another brand new episode of Dunswell Zoo. You all wanted more speed builds. Here is a speed build. We are building for the Nine-Banded Armadillo, which we of course got in the Grasslands pack for Planet Zoo. And yeah, you can see that I've got the walls, natural looking walls. There's actually ZZ's natural wall pack that these walls are from. They're going to surround the back and the sides of the habitat. I just wanted a really nice, natural looking habitat for these nine-banded armadillos. So I had a very specific image in mind for what I wanted the habitat to look like. So for this one I didn't look at other habitats for nine-banded armadillos or other species of armadillos. I just followed my imagination, went with what felt right, and I think it turned out alright in the end, to be honest. I think it did anyway. So yeah, the nine-banded armadillo is found mainly in sort of warm, rainy, tropical environments, but it is the most widespread of all armadillos. It's found throughout South America and North America, and will also be extending its range further up into North America. Just diverting quickly here, putting this little shelter in purely just to hide the water. Just didn't want that on show, really. Then just cutting that off there, like so, with the wall. And then we go ahead, make sure everything looks alright, just change a couple of things out, and then move the barriers in. So while that's happening, yeah, they're primarily found in warm, wet, humid forests, but they are very adaptable and can also be found in scrublands, tropical forests, prairies, pastures, deserts, stuff like that. It doesn't thrive particularly well in very cold or very dry environments, and it has very little fat on its body. Despite that, it is still hunted in South America for its meat and its carapace, which is its shell, if you like, or its armour would be a more appropriate description, I suppose. Just putting the glass fence in at the front here, I wanted a completely open viewing front, and glass was the easiest way to do that, and it looks very swish and very sort of modern, which is what I wanted. But yeah, I did actually find that the fencing was too low, and I had to raise it at some point, which I will do. It just wasn't on camera. So yeah, the issue really with this habitat comes with groupings, and here I'm just trying to fill in that gap because I don't want that to be glass. I just want that to be sort of filled in, but just checking the terrain requirements and the social groups and stuff like that for the armadillos to see what I'm going to need to put in the habitat. The size of the habitat is quite large for 2 armadillos, which is the recommended number, one male and one female. We're not breeding them because they are least concern. So I've actually got 4 armadillos in this habitat, 2 males, 2 females. There are images online of groups of nine-banded armadillos, and there are certain reports, Smithsonian, Britannica, stuff like that, that indicate that they can be found in small groups. So I think we could maybe push it to 6, but for now we're going to keep it as 4. So they do get a little bit lost in this habitat, but I hope I've designed it in such a way that it looks as natural as possible. And you know, when you go to a zoo, you're not going to see all the animals all the time. It's at their discretion whether they show themselves or not. It's about presenting them with the right opportunities to display natural behaviours. This habitat has a lot of planting, so I cut most of it out because it was very repetitive and very boring. But I wanted a nice sort of gradient of really light but dry greens moving into those yellows and sort of really off beige colours. That's the sort of colour scheme I was going for with this habitat. And you can see that happening here, that there's some more darker greens coming in a bit further down the habitat, and where things are a bit more open, you have these paler greens. I was entertaining the idea of cacti, but they wouldn't grow outside. Not like that anyway. So here we are with the finished planting, and the finished rock work and enrichment and all that jazz. We're now putting in the education boards. So initially I discovered that was far too low and it needed to be sort of full height. And then moving across to the next one, same story again. It's far too low, so full height. And then change the colour of them, keeping in line with that sort of faded green, yellow, beige sort of colour scheme. But also keeping the themes of the rest of the zone. So we've got these bamboo, yellow bamboo education boards. So they go in, and we set them, and that should be everything. So I will see you in the little live section in just a second. So here we are in the live section, my friends, and you can see we've actually started just outside the area that we redeveloped for the armadillos. And the reason for that is A, so you can see how much the view has changed, but B, there's something just before the armadillos that I want to show you, which is this. So, cost of living crisis and energy crisis and all stuff like that, and the war in Ukraine and everything else that's going on, more and more people are having to turn to growing their own, and zoos can do that as a sort of cost alleviation thing. So we've got some tomatoes, some grapes. We're going to pretend that they're berries. Got some berries, cauliflowers, courgettes, pumpkins, carrots, potatoes, and these are actually from the plant pack. I forget the name of it now. It's one of Nicholas Lion Rider's plant packs, but they kind of look like leeks, the top of leek plants. So I thought, okay, we can get away with that. Got some leeks, a little herby bush that they can use for enrichment. We've got some berries down here, which also sort of creates a nice little border. And then we move over here, and then there's a water butt down here, which I do need to connect to a gutter, which I've not quite put on there yet. But yeah, I just thought it'd be nice to sort of show how the zoo is becoming self-sustainable, and part of that is with things like this, growing your own. So we then move into the armadillo, and there's a little Easter egg just down there. See if you can spot it in the cinematics that are coming up. I actually recorded the cinematics before this section. The boards are now in, whereas they weren't in the cinematics. But yeah, we have our armadillos. So there's... Is it paused? Huh. It's weird. There's one in there. There's one down here. We've got 4 in total. And they're just about to be fed by the looks of it as well. Cool. So yeah, there's 4 in total. They are usually found sort of solitarily or in pairs at most, but there are occasions where they will be in groups. There is photo evidence of them in groups, so I figured the habitat was big enough to avoid too severe territory conflicts. So we've got 2 males and 2 females in here, and they all seem to be getting along, to be fair, because they are least concern. We're not going to be breeding them, but yeah, I think it's a really nice habitat. Not entirely realistic necessarily. It's very dry, and they tend not to thrive very well in overly dry environments. But of course, we're in the UK, and there's lots of shade, so it wouldn't be too dry for them. And this grass, although it looks very nice, armadillos like to dig, so it probably wouldn't be quite as well established as it is here. And then this part of the habitat, we've got their food dish down here, and there's a burrow over there where the planting's a little bit more green. And then we reach the end of the habitat with a staff access here. And then of course we've got the new and improved signs. So Australasia zone, Patagonian Mara, mountain tapir and bush dogs, giant anteater, Andean bears, flamingos, and South American coati. And then of course you have your guanaco. Their habitat will be getting redone at some point. So we'll just head back over to the armadillos very quickly. So yeah, really simple habitat. Looks pretty much exactly as I wanted it to look. Maybe the colours on the back are a little bit off, but I can live with that. I'm not fussed about that. Exactly what I wanted. You know, you can get a really good view of the armadillos from pretty much anywhere across this habitat, which was the whole point. And then their little information donation boards say, although the nine-banded armadillo isn't endangered, its home is. The nine-banded armadillos can be found in a variety of habitats across South, Central and North America, but their home in South and Central America is under risk from deforestation, agriculture and human activity. By donating today, you can ensure that the armadillos still have somewhere to call home, alongside their feathered, fairy and scaly friends. And that's because armadillos, although in the game they don't have any interspecies enrichment, they are found alongside like burrowing owls, gopher tortoises, snakes, stuff like that. Obviously we can't have snakes in here. Tortoises probably wouldn't be a good idea either, because of the temperatures in the UK. They'd probably be better off somewhere indoors. Burrowing owls, an option. Them flying off might be an issue, but we can see what we get in the future. But yeah, definitely, there's definitely room to put another species in here. We might get 2 more armadillos, but I don't want to push it too much, you know. I think 4 is a nice balance given the size of the habitat. Although there's enough room for another 2. I don't want to create any conflict with the armadillos. So, next episode will be the white-eared titi monkeys in the Capybara Springs. It's going to be a very short episode, like this one has been. That's because there's a lot going on at the moment. I don't have the time to do any big builds, but that is changing. We have got a big build coming up very shortly with the... what's the next one coming up? Expedition Ecuador is after the next 2 episodes. So we've got the white-eared titi monkey, which is next, the brown-throated 3-toed sloth, which is after that, and then we've got Expedition Ecuador. That's the next big build, Expedition Ecuador. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoy the cinematics that are coming very shortly, and I shall see you all next time. Please remember to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you have indeed liked the video and want to see more content like this. Until then, my friends, stay safe, stay kind, and I shall see you all in the next episode. Bye bye for now.